Life and formation. Simo Häyhä was born on December 17, 1905, in Rautjärvi, a rural area in southeastern Finland close to the Russian border. At the time, Finland was an agrarian society where daily life required physical endurance, patience, and self-reliance. Häyhä grew up on a small farm in a large family and spent much of his childhood working outdoors in forests and fields. The environment played a critical role in shaping him. Winters were long and severe. Temperatures often dropped far below freezing, and survival depended on preparation and discipline. Hunting was common, not as recreation, but as a source of food. From a young age, Häyhä learned to track animals, remain still for extended periods, and fire only when success was certain. He was quiet by nature, physically small, and not socially prominent. There is no record of him expressing political ambition or ideological motivation. Those who later interviewed him described him as reserved and practical. In 1925, Häyhä joined the Finnish Civil Guard, a volunteer militia responsible for national defense. This organization emphasized marksmanship and fieldcraft. Häyhä showed exceptional consistency in shooting competitions, particularly with iron sights rather than telescopic optics. His preference was not unusual at the time, but it would later prove significant. He trained regularly and methodically. There are no records of extraordinary training conditions or secret techniques, only repetition, familiarity with terrain, and strict attention to fundamentals. By the late 1930s, he was considered a reliable and disciplined marksman, but not a figure of special attention. In November 1939, the Soviet Union invaded Finland, initiating what became known as the Winter War. The Soviet forces had overwhelming numerical superiority, supported by armor and artillery. Finnish forces were smaller, lightly equipped, and dependent on defensive tactics and local knowledge. Häyhä was deployed as an infantry soldier with sniper duties in the Kala region. He entered combat with standard equipment, including a Mosin Nagant M/28 rifle without a scope. His role was defensive. There is no evidence that he sought combat beyond assigned orders. What followed would later be documented in military records, not legends. Part 2. The Winter War, and confirmed Arvard the Winter War was fought under extreme conditions. Temperatures in some areas dropped below -40 degrees Celsius. Weapons malfunctioned, exposed skin froze within minutes, and visibility was often limited by snowfall and low light. Soldiers on both sides suffered heavily from cold-related injuries. Häyhä operated primarily in forested terrain. His effectiveness was based on concealment, patience, and familiarity with the environment. He wore standard white winter camouflage, which reduced visual detection. He avoided telescopic sights because they could reflect light and required the shooter to raise their head higher, increasing exposure. Military records credit Häyhä with 505 confirmed sniper kills during the Winter War, achieved in approximately 100 days. These numbers were verified by Finnish officers and are documented in official reports. In addition, he is estimated to have killed over 200 enemy soldiers using a submachine gun during close-range engagements, though these are less precisely recorded. Several specific incidents are well documented. Häyhä repeatedly eliminated Soviet officers at long distances, disrupting command and movement. Soviet forces deployed counter-snipers specifically to locate and kill him. These attempts consistently failed. Artillery and suppressive fire were used to neutralize suspected positions, but Häyhä frequently remained undetected. His methods were practical rather than innovative. He stabilized his rifle using snow, packed snow around his firing position to reduce muzzle flash, and controlled his breathing to minimize movement. These techniques were effective but not unique. His distinction lay in consistency under pressure. On March 6, 1940, Häyhä was struck in the face by an explosive bullet fired from a Soviet rifle. The injury destroyed part of his lower jaw and cheek. He lost consciousness immediately and was evacuated from the battlefield. He remained unconscious for several days. When he regained consciousness on March 13, 1940, the Winter War had ended. Finland retained its independence but suffered territorial losses. Häyhä survived after extensive medical treatment. His injuries permanently altered his appearance and speech. Simo Häyhä's sniping methods were simple, documented, and physically punishing rather than mysterious. He used a Mosin Nagant M/28 rifle with iron sights, deliberately avoiding telescopic scopes because they reflected light and required raising the head, increasing the risk of detection. He packed hard snow in front of his firing position to prevent muzzle blast from revealing him and to stabilize the rifle, and he often kept snow in his mouth to reduce visible breath vapor in temperatures that dropped below -40 degrees Celsius. He wore standard white winter camouflage and remained motionless for hours, sometimes an entire day, relying on slow breathing and controlled heart rate, skills developed from hunting, not special forces training. Finnish military records confirm 505 sniper kills in roughly 100 days, an average of about 5 per day, with his highest single-day confirmed count being 25. One of the most unusual but verified aspects of his service is that the Soviet Army deployed counter-snipers, artillery fire, and even indirect bombardment specifically to neutralize him, yet none succeeded until he was finally hit by an explosive bullet on March 6, 1940, which destroyed his lower jaw and left side of his face. Despite extreme cold injuries, constant lack of sleep, hunger, isolation, and the psychological strain of operating alone, Haiha continued fighting until that injury. He was unconscious for days and woke up only after the war had ended. His struggles did not end there. He lived with permanent facial damage, difficulty speaking, and chronic pain for the rest of his life. He never claimed exceptional skill or enjoyment in killing, consistently stating that he survived and succeeded because of practice, discipline, and following orders, not aggression or ideology. Part 3. Aftermath, Character, and Elegally after the war, Simo Haiha was promoted and received Finland's highest honors. Despite this, he did not pursue a military career. He returned to civilian life, living quietly in rural Finland. He never published memoirs. He rarely gave interviews. When questioned about his wartime actions, his responses were brief and factual. He consistently avoided emotional or ideological language. When asked how he achieved such effectiveness, his most cited response was, "I did what I was ordered to do, as well as I could." He did not describe hatred toward the enemy. He did not describe pleasure in killing. He framed his actions strictly as duty during an invasion of his country. From a historical perspective, Haiha's record is significant not because it represents heroism, but because it demonstrates how environment, training, and discipline can outweigh numerical superiority. His effectiveness forced changes in Soviet tactics and contributed to delaying advances during critical phases of the war. Military historians emphasize that Haiha was not an anomaly created by aggression, but a product of defensive warfare under extreme conditions. His actions were legal under the laws of war at the time and aligned with his role as a soldier defending national territory. Simo Haiha lived to the age of 96, dying in 2002. He spent his later years hunting, raising dogs, and living independently. He did not seek public recognition. The lasting lesson from his life is not violence, but restraint. His record shows that preparation, patience, and calm execution can have decisive impact, sometimes more than force or technology. He did not shape history through speeches or ambition. He did not seek to be remembered, yet history recorded him anyway. Sincerely hope you liked the video. Like, share, comment, and subscribe this channel. Need your feedback for better content.